Welcome to the last part of MERN Stack blog project series. In this video tutorial, we are going to complete all the remaining components like profile page using React. So let's move ahead and complete our blog website. But before we start with that, I would like to request you all to subscribe to our channel for more technical content like this. Now, without any further delay, let's move to our VS Code. So let's move to our homepage first, and we have already created this component as home post. Okay, so inside my home post, what I'll be doing, I'll be creating this box kind of view, and in that box there will be some description of the blog, or you can say the heading of the blog, and then the little bit description about the blog. Then we will also have the author who have created, the date of creation, and the image of that particular blog. So we will create that box view of our particular blog for our home page. All right, so let's move ahead. And as we all know that for this particular project, I haven't much put my attention on creating a UI. So our more attention was towards creating the backend. All right, so we are not creating that hi-fi UI over here. We are just focusing on how to write the functionalities, how to implement the hooks and everything, right? So let's get started. First of all, what we will be needing for the image, I'll be needing my IF. So what is IF? IF is our image folder link. Okay, so from where we are getting this? From URL, right? Inside URL we have put all the links. All right, so here for this particular component, we won't be needing anything else. It's just the image, and rest we will be getting the post over here. Okay, so let's also pass the post as a prop over here, because whenever we are creating this home post, whenever we are using this home post component inside our let's say home page. So if I'll just move to my home page, and if I'll just show you where we are using this home post, here you can see we are getting two things. First one is our post ID as a key prop, and also the post. So what I'm doing over here is I'm taking that post as a prop. Okay, so I'm taking this prop over here. Let's say post. You can use post ID, you can take post ID as well, but we don't need that. Okay, so div, I'm creating one more div inside this particular div, and starting with my class names, let's make our height as 45 VH. You can change this height and width accordingly. I have taken this grid kind of structure. You can also take only rows and only columns kind of thing. Okay, so let's make our display as flex wrap. Then we'll have a background as white for this particular box. Then let's make our border as gray 200. Fine, and then also let's give some shadow. Okay, so this is our home page, so that's why I'm using a little more styling for this. So inside this I'll create one more div. Then let's try to understand one thing over here. So whenever we are taking any images, right, so all the images won't be of a same height and width, right? So for that, what I'll do, I'll first tell my box that whatever the content is overflowing, hide that. So for that we use overflow hidden like this. Then we will also set the height for our particular image, because I want all the image to look same. Now inside this particular div, I'll take my image. So let's create one image tag over here, and let's also give some class name to our image tag, starting with object fit. So object fit, object cover, and object feel are all the styling for making our image responsive. Now let's also give some width to our particular image. I'm taking 96 over here, and let's also put some classes on hover. So on hover, I want my image to get little zoomed in. Okay, so for that I'm using hover scale. Hover scale 150 over here. Then now we also have to give src. So src, and let's say if plus Can you please put in the comment section like what will be after this if? So this if is just locating to our particular folder, not the particular image. So how we will get this particular image? By taking post dot photo, right? We have already used this part, so I hope this is clear to you. So if I'll just go and show you the output, we will have our image over there. Let's also give alt and let's move to the output. So here you can see we have this. You can see on hover my image is getting zoomed in. Okay, so this is the particular box. This kind of box we will be creating for all our posts. Okay, now let's move back to our VS Code and create the description and everything for this. Okay, so after this particular image, I'm creating one more div over here, and inside this I'll have my all the other data. Okay, so let's start by giving a class name. Let's make my padding left as 3. Then inside this I'm taking my h5 over here, and inside this I'll be writing my post title. So let's say post dot title like this, and let's give some styling to this particular title. Let's say class name, and over here let's use text as Excel, font will be bold, then my tracking will be tight. So what is this tracking tight means? The gap between two particular letters. Okay, so that represents our tracking tight. Now also we will write text as gray. Let's keep this as dark as possible. So I'm taking 900. You can use 950 as well. Both are almost the same color. It's just that 900 is little lighter than 950. Okay. Now after that I'm creating one more div, and inside this particular div we will have all the other data. Okay, so in this particular div I'm writing class name, and let's give some class names over here. Let's first say text as extra small, font will be semi bold, text will be gray 500, and item will be center, justify center. Now let's also make this flex because we have used the flex properties. Now over here I'll also give a p tag, and in this particular p tag we will write the author's name. Okay, so let's say post dot user name. So this username is the name of the user who have created this particular post. Okay, so if we directly write the username, then it will give you your username for the particular logged in account. Okay, but when we are using post dot username, it will give you the username of the person who have created this particular post. Okay, and over here I'm also writing by space, and also over here let's give some class name and make this as a blue color. So let's say text blue 400. Let's look at the output. So this is not really very clear to me. Okay, why this is happening? Text fold text. Okay, let's try and add one more div over here. I guess that div is overlapping, so let's also add one div over here and wrap this inside our div. So I'm wrapping this div over here. No change. Okay, now the username is gone. Okay, let's try to fix this. Okay, let's make this as Excel. Then let's also, okay, now I can see some data, but it's not clear because it does not have height, I guess. So let's say height as auto. Still not visible, right? Okay, let's say P3. Not visible. Okay, so what's happening over here is it was getting overlapped by the div at the very bottom. Okay, so what I did, I created another div and I have given empty as 4 over there. So it got this little space to show up. Okay, it was getting overlapped. All right. Now let's continue over here. I'm giving true if let's check it's visible. Okay, it's visible. Okay, all right. This is looking perfect over here. Now let's also this div will contain our description detail. Okay, so for that what I'm doing over here, I'm writing font as normal and text will be gray 700, right? I'm not taking the black text over here, and I'm also creating one p tag, and in this particular p tag we will have our data. So what data, how we can get this particular data by writing post dot description, right? But if you will notice one thing, right now we don't have that much data inside this particular blog. So what happens is whenever you will be having a lots of data inside your particular post, so what will happen is you will get whole data over there. So we don't want to do that. We want to show some specific data over there. Otherwise why someone will click on your blog and read the whole thing, right? So for that we will just give the blog overview over there, and we will use our slice. We have already used our slice to get the date. So similarly we will use slice and we will show around 75 letters of our particular blog. Okay, and after that we will have this plus sign, and in this plus sign we will add one string over here, and everything. Okay, just let me first finish. And in this we will write read more like this, and I'm just copying this particular, I'm just cutting this particular part and adding this particular part inside this curly braces. Okay, otherwise it will be just visible as a text over there. All right, so if I'll just show you over here, let's reload this. Okay, I don't think it should look like that. Okay, so we also have to this is already done, right? Now let's move ahead and also give the post date. Okay, so after this particular div ending, what I'm doing over here is, okay, one more thing, I had to add this particular data over here. Okay, because this is our content div, right? And inside this particular div only we will be writing everything. So let's look at the output once. So if I'll just reload this data over here, you can see we don't have the description as well as the date. So there is something wrong with this. So let's try to figure out. Okay, so this div will have everything, right? Overflow hidden 20 vh. Let's make it as vh. Okay, so over here now you can see we have the data over here. We have just taken the wrong height over here. It will be 40 vh, and you can see we have this data. If we had the more data, we could have got the more data and then this read more, but we don't have the much data inside this particular block. That's why we are getting big data. And read more, and we have this date in light gray color. Okay, so I guess this card is looking perfect, and if I'll just show you in a large screen as well, this is looking perfect, and it's beautiful, right? So now let's move ahead and create the edit block. Okay, so let's move to our VS Code again, and if I'll just maximize this, and let's move to our edit post. So we have already created one page as edit post, and we will be now writing the functionality for our edit post. Okay, so as usual, let's start by importing all the important things. So let's say starting with our hooks. First of all, we will have the use context from React, then we will have use state, then we will have use effect. In this whole series, we have studied about this 3 hooks in very detail, right? Now after that, we will be needing the footer. So I'm importing footer from $\component/footer. Then we will also have our nav bar. So let's say nav bar, nav bar from, again, components, nav bar. Now we will also be needing some icons, so I'm importing that. First of all, I have I am cross from React icon /im. Then we will also need the Axios, so I'm importing the Axios over here. Axios, we are using Axios for this one, and you can also use fetch as well. So I have taught you both the ways to use our backend or call API. Okay, then we will be needing use navigate, not navigation, use navigate. Okay, then we will also need use params, because we are gonna edit the post based on the post ID. Then we will need our user contacts, because only the user who had created this particular blog will have privilege to edit this. Now let's start by creating all the functionalities. First, starting with let's get our post ID. So let's say const post ID is equal to use params. Okay, no suggestions for that. Let's say it's okay, we will write it. Use params is a function, and we will give the ID over here. Then we will have the, what is happening? Oh god. Now we will have our user like this, and from where this user is coming, we are using a use context hook, and then we are calling our user context. So here it will be const. Now we will also create one variable as navigate, and we will equalize this to use navigate like this. So whenever we will be needing to navigate to some other page, we can use of this particular function over there. Now let's create some states, starting with the title. So there are certain things the user or the person who have created the blog can edit, starting with the title. Then we will have description, then image, then certain categories or a category, and the categories array. So why we need category and categories separately? Because categories will contain all the categories added, and category will set the single category. All right, so let's start with the title comma use title, set title like this. We will make use of our use state, and inside this we will pass a string. Then similarly we will have the description. So let's do one thing, we can get all of this things whenever we created this particular block. Okay, so if I'll just move a little bit above, and if I'll just copy all these things and paste that in my edit post. So let's first close all of this because it's very confusing. So let's say close all, and then we will open edit post again, and I'm pasting whatever we have copied over here. So first of all, let's remove this part because we don't need this, and let's remove this part because we don't need it. Now we have everything over here. First of all, we have our title, then we have description, then we have files, then we have category, and then we have categories. Fine, so we are done with this. Let's create a function to fetch the post. So first of all, whenever we are editing the post, first of all we will have the already written post over there, right? So whenever you are editing, you will be able to read the previous post as well. Then and then only you will be able to edit that particular post, right? You don't want the whole post to be gone, right? You want the previous data plus you want to add some particular data. So to get that previous data, we also have to create one function. Okay, so let's create one function. So let's say const fetch post like this is equal to async. Obviously this function is going to be async operation, and inside this we will have our try and catch block. So let's say try, then we have catch will contain the error and it will return that error. So let's say console dot log error. Now let's also add this data into our try block. So first of all, what we will do, first we will mention from where we are getting this particular data from. So we are getting this particular data from const response is equal to await. We have seen one other way to request this particular data. How? Directly, without mentioning this variable over here, right? We can directly write await Axios dot get and whatever the endpoint you want to mention. So let's say for the endpoint we have our /API /posts. Now we also have to add our post ID. So let's say plus post ID like this. Now we get the everything. Now what we have to do, we have to set this particular data. So I guess we have set that particular data when we were creating this particular post. So over here we have created this. Just a minute, let me just check. Okay, no, we have directly send this particular data to the post method. So we have to write this. Okay, no issues, we will write it. Starting with the set title. First of all, we will set the title as request.data.title. Similarly, we will have set description that will have response.data.description. Then we will have set file, and that set file will have response.data.photo, not file over here. Okay, make sure you write photo over here because in the backend we have stored this as a photo. So we will get photo in return. Then let's also take the categories. So this is previously added categories. Okay, not so over here we won't set the category, we will set the categories. So this is an array. Okay, this is an empty array initially, and now we are adding the data to that particular empty array. So over here we will have response.data.categories. So here I have created the whole categories like this, so it will be categories, not just the cat over there. Okay, so this is done. Now let's move ahead. So what else will be there? So first of all, we get all the data. Now we have to create a function to update that particular data, right? So already we are going to create the particular form, but we also have to create a function on submit of that particular form. The data will be updated. So for that I'm creating a function over here. After this particular function, let me just remove this blank spaces from here, and over here I'm creating a function. Let's say const handle update update, and this will be async operation as well. This will take E is basically the data, and let's also write e dot prevent default because we are handling the form. So on submit, we don't want our page to reload it. So e dot prevent default. We have already discussed about this, right? And this will be function like this. Now let's also create one more variable, and in that particular object we will be storing all the data, just like we have done whenever we were creating this particular block. So if I'll just show you, if I'll move to the create block, over here you see we have done this, right? So over here we will be needing this file as well. So I'm copying this particular part, this whole part, okay, this whole part I'm copying it down, and okay, I'll be needing this as well. Okay, so I'm copying this particular part down. Then we will also need to delete the category button. So let me just paste this over here, and let's check what is the issue or what are the things we need to change. So let's check it. So starting with the we have the post, so we need the post, then we need the title, then we need the description, then we are setting the username. So username is not gonna change, user ID is not gonna change, and categories will be changed. So we are giving the option to change the category. Okay, then we will have our constant data is equal to new form data, right? So that is fine because we are changing the image in case we are changing the image. Okay, then the operations will be same. We have to append that particular file name, and then we will append that particular file, and we will set our photo is equal to that particular file name. Okay, now we also have to manage the error in case we get any. So we have done that. Okay, and after that we will send this particular data to our endpoint, that is const axios post slash. Okay, over here it won't be a post data, it will be put data because we are updating that particular data, right? So, and this endpoint will be not create, it will be just post. Okay, and over here we also have to send our post ID. So let's say post ID over here, and then we will send the post and with the credentials is equal to true. Then we will also have to navigate to this particular post. So this part is same only. Then we had our error handling. Okay, now we have to create a use effect just like usual. So I'm creating a use effect hook over here. So use effect, and this will be arrow function, and inside this particular part we will call our fetch post. Now also we have to pass the post ID over here. So let's say post ID like this. Now what we will do, as we have created the function to delete the category and add the category, we will be needing the same function over here. So if I'll just move to my create post, and let's look for the create category and add delete category and add category function. So these are two functions. So I'm copying this particular part down and moving to my edit post, pasting that over here. So let's just check if there is any change. So first of all we will delete the category. So we have the I, let's update cats. Okay, fine, slice and everything is perfect. And in add category as well, nothing is changed, it's just like the create category or create post. Okay, so everything is done over here. Now what we have to do, we have to create the UI for this. So I hope this part is clear because we have discussed all these things in detail whenever we were creating our create post. Okay, so if you haven't watched that particular video, I highly recommend you to go and watch that particular video. Now let's create the UI for this one. So now let's move to the UI, starting with I'm removing this particular edit post, and over here I'm creating one more div like this, and okay, let's do this again. Div dot All right, now let's first put our navbar over here. So here we have our navbar, and inside this let's make our display flex and justify center. All right, now after doing this much, what we will do, we will create one more div, and inside that particular div we will have our form. Okay, so let's move ahead and do that. So let's say div over here like this, and over here I'm giving a class name. So let's say class name, and let's take the padding as 4. Let's also give the border over here. Then let's make the width as 70%, and let's also make this display as flex call, and we will also have justify center, and let's make px is equal to 6, md px as 200 pixel, and margin top will be 8. Now after doing this much, I'm giving a heading, a big heading that says update your post. Okay, so it's nothing fancy over here. We are just writing h1 dot, and inside this we will write font, then font will be bold, then we'll have a flex, justify center, then we will have for the medium screen our text size will be 2XL, and generally my text will be XL like this. Now let's give the heading over here that says update your post. Now after doing this much, let's create a form over here. So let's say form, and let's also give the dot over here. Sorry, let's say form dot. Okay, now over here I'm removing this action because we are not creating any submit form thing. We are just gonna give width as full, not over here, over here full. Then we'll also make this as flex call space y will be 4, and for my medium screen my space y will be 8. Okay, so this is x, I want y, and margin top will be 4. Fine. Now inside this particular form we will have all the input tags and everything, so let's do that. So over here I'm creating one input tag, input dot. All right, type will be text, and let's also add on change over here. On change of this particular input tag we will set the title. So this one is for the title, so let's have the title over here. Let's okay, so over here we will have the e, and then we will make use of our arrow function, and we will call the set title function. So set title is basically our use state. Okay, so whenever we are using the use state, there are two things. First one is the variable, and another one is the update function. Okay, so if I just write over here set, instead of set title, if I just use title as this, then it will throw me an error. But the set title is used as function, so that's why we are directly using this function. Okay, target over here, and also let's add the value. Now also the value for this one will be title. See, we are using title as a variable and set title as a function over here. Now let's also add the placeholder. So I'm just entering over here, and I'm adding placeholder like this, and inside the placeholder I'm writing enter post title. So in case there are no titles, this placeholder will be shown, but we already fetched this title from our backend and we have set this particular title, right? So initially it will be the old title. Okay, and then if we remove everything, then we will get this particular placeholder. Fine. Let's move ahead. Now let's give some class names over here, starting with my px as 4, py as 2, and outline none, like this. Now we also have to create a input tag for our file. File is basically our image. Okay, so let's say input dot over here, and over here I'm taking file instead of text. So let's just say file over here, and over here we will also make px as 4 for this one, and let's also add on change. So let's say on change we will have e dot set file, like this, and inside this particular set file we will have e dot target dot value, like this. Sorry, for file we will have file over here, okay, because we are using file, and initially we will start the index as 0. Okay, now let's also create another div, and in that particular div we will have our description, right? So let's create one more div over here, and inside this particular div let's start by giving some class names over here. So let's say class name like this, and let's make it flex call. Now inside this particular div I'm creating one more div like this, and let's also start giving some class names. So let's say flex item center, then space x4, and for my medium screen my space x will be 8. Now inside this particular div we will set our categories. Okay, so this will have our single category, and at the below we will display all the categories, right? Just like we have done when we were creating our create post. So if I'll just move to my create post, and if I'll just scroll down over here, we had this particular category thing over here, right? So similarly over here it was options, but in this case I also want to give option to create a new category. Okay, so over here if you notice we have this select and option thing, but in edit post what we will do, we will give an input tag, and people can actually create new categories. So let's say my categories is not mentioned in your list, so in that case I can just simply go to the edit tool, and I can create my own categories over there. Okay, so let's just do that. Over here I'm taking the input field, input dot like this, and obviously this will be text, value will be cat, value will be our category. On change of this particular category field we will set the category. So e set cat, and inside this we will have e dot target dot value like this. Okay, now after doing this much, what we have to do, we will give some class name over there, and we will also give some placeholder over here. So if I'll just enter over here, and if I'll just slide placeholder over here, we will give placeholder as enter post category. Like this. Okay, let's also give some class names over here. Let's take the px as 4 and py as 2, then outline as none. Fine. After that we will take that particular button which we have created in our create post. So this was the button, right? So I'm just copying this particular button over here to here, and inside this particular div only I'm pasting that particular button. So after this input tag I'm also pasting one button. So why this is too okay, fine. Here we'll have this particular button. Fine. So we have created this add category button also over here, right? So that particular category will be added over here. Now we also have to show this particular category list, right? So over here, if I'll just move back, and if you see this, we have already created this show category thing over here, right? So I'm just copying this particular part down. So let's say copy this categories and paste that particular category right below this button, or let's say outside this particular div. So over here I'm pasting this part like this. So it says there is no ending to this particular div. All right, now let's move ahead, and outside this particular divs, I'm creating one more text area, and over there we will have our description. Okay, so first of all, I'm copying that particular part from my create post. So if you see over here, we add this particular two things over here, right? So this button and this particular text area, I'm copying this part and putting into my edit post. But there are few things we need to change. Initially, the value of our text field. Okay, first of all, let's update this particular part. Over here it will be handle update, not handle create, because we have handle update with us. And initially the value of this particular text area will be description. So value as BSc description. Fine. Other things will be same over here. I'm not changing any placeholder and everything. I'm keeping that as it is, and at the very end I'll also have my footer. So I'm creating my footer over here. I'm taking my footer, and this is done. So you can see there are only warnings, no errors over here in our code. So let's move to our output and check. So if I'll just click on this, and if I'll just log in, so let's say test@gmail.com, and over here if I'll just have 1 2 3 4 5 6, and if I'll just log in, and if I'll just click on this, if I'll just click on this particular blog, you can see there is this comment section and everything. This is working fine. And if I click on my edit button, you can see we have created this. And over here, if I'll just write, let's say I'm just adding this A over here, and if I'll just add, you can see this is added over here, and instead of here it should be update, right? So I'll change this text over here, and if I'll just update it, so it's not updated, because if it would have, okay, there are some errors. So let's try to fix that error. So it says that the origin is wrong. You can see this is how CORS error look like, Joe. See, it says that has blocked by CORS policy, allow access origin, okay, and all of this. So what is happening over here is we are getting the CORS error because there is some issue with the URL we have written. Okay, so if I'll just move at the very top of my, edit post, and if I'll just check over here, then let's try to figure out what's the error we are creating. Okay, so it will be /API/upload, data, and /API posts /post ID, post ID, and let's try to add this and create this. So it says the username. Okay, so there is some error in the username over here. You can see there is some error coming over here, reading the username, right? So there is some issue at the username. So let's try to figure out what is the issue over here. Okay, so username will be user.username, and user ID will be same, categories will be cats, title will be title, and description will be description. So this is all right. Now I also have to check this particular endpoint. So I guess this is the correct endpoint, and slash post slash res data here. Okay, so we are getting the data, but there is issue when we are updating that particular data, right? So I guess fetch data is working fine, but update data is not working fine. So let's just try to figure out what is the issue over here. We have this upload over here, we have API post slash over here, and this was API slash posts over here. Okay, okay, all right. So just restart your server and it will start working. I don't know why this React has little glitch, sometimes does not update your code. So if I'll just show you the output over here, see, this is my blog, and if I'll just click on this edit button, if over here, if I'm editing the category as data, and if I click on update, it will actually update my data over here. And if I'll show you on our blogosphere screen, you can see this categories is added over here. Okay, and one more thing to notice over here is whenever you're updating the data, your image is going. So why this is happening? Because at our file input, so here we are taking the file input, so initially we are not setting the value. So over here we have to set the value as file, like this. So initially it will have the value. So if I'll just set some image over here once again, so if I'll just add the not the category, the image. So if I'll just go ahead and add this particular image again over here, and if I click on open, so you see value property of HTML accepts the file name, right? So it's not, it's giving us the error over here. So for that, what we have to do, we just have to mention the file name over there. Okay, so let's just say file name over here like this, and okay, it says that the file name does not exist. Okay, why this is happening? So at the image upload, we have okay, so we have this variable inside the file name, and post.photo is equal to file name, right? So let's try adding photo over here, photo like this, and let's check whether it's giving us the error or not. Okay, it's giving the error to us. Okay, so over here let's add a file and move to the output, and if I'll just choose the photo again over here, let's say this one, and if I'll open, and you see the value property on HTML that the input accepts file name, which only we set as empty string. Okay, so I'm removing, we have to set the value of this file first, and initially it is null over here, but I don't want the null over there, right? I want some input over there initially. So if I'll just write post dot, what we had, photo over here. Okay, let's set this as null initially, and then we will set this as photo later. So at the image upload, we take the file name. Okay, initially here I'm also setting my file as okay, not data as photo. Okay, fine. Okay, so we have completed our edit post. Now let's move ahead and create our profile section, and let's end this particular project. So we have already created a page as profile, so let's move to that particular component, and inside that what we have to do is we have to show the logged in user data. Okay, so also we have to create this my blogs. So first we will complete this profile section and then we will move to this my blog part. Okay, so this my blog contains all the blog which is written by you. Okay, so over there we will only fetch the data according to your user credentials. Okay, so let's first focus on this our profile section, and starting with importing some important things which we are going to use in creation of this particular component, starting with the use context. Let's say user context also we will be needing, so let's say use context, give me the hook now. Okay, fine. Then we will have our use effect, then we have our use state. So this is going to be a very small component, it will show you just the data. Okay, and also we will be needing our nav bar from the components, then we will have our footer from the components, and also we will have our Axios, because we are gonna use Axios for this component as well. Then we will have the URL, so let's say URL from my // URL. Now let's also import our navigate and params. Okay, so use navigate comma use params, like this. Now let's create the functionalities. There are only few things we had to do in this particular part, that is setting our username, email address, password, and we will also give user to privilege to update that particular data. So if I want to update my username, I can do that over my profile section. Okay, so let's start by getting the data first. So let's say const param param is equal to, why this is happening, param is equal to use params will be function dot id, like this. Now I don't know why this is auto changing my pre-written text. Alright, now we will create some states. First of all, for my username comma set username, the state initially will be null. Then we will have our email address, so let's say const email comma set email, and initially this will also be null in a empty string. Okay, now same we will have for our password, so let's say set password, and password will be null at the very beginning. Okay, now we will also create a user constant. So earlier what we used to do, we used to create only user over there, because we were only want to get the data of the particular user. But over here I'm creating two objects, saying user comma set user, and we will make this use of our use context, and inside this we will pass our user context. So what our user context was doing is storing all the user data, right? So it was returning the user data to us. So over here by using this particular component, we are also changing that particular data, so that's why we need this set data as well. Now let's also create one more constant as navigate, and let's call the navigate function over there, use navigate, like this. And after this we will also create updated and set updated. Okay, so first of all we will have the data which we already had, and then we will have the data after the updation of our particular user data. So let's say updated, like this, and we will keep this as a uh, Boolean expression, because there can be two things. So let's say if this data is updated, in that case what we have to do, we have to update this on our backend as well. So only and only if the user make any changes inside our particular form, at that time only we will call our backend functionalities. Otherwise we will not call the backend functionalities. So for that, to keep track of that particular part, I am creating this updated state over here. Okay, now let's first get the data. So how we get the data? By using the fetch operation, right? So let's do that. Here I'm making use of our Axios, but I'm creating a function as fetch profile, just like we created for our fetch post and everything, right? So also this will be a async operation like this, and arrow function like this. Inside this we will have our try and catch block. We know that, right? Let's create the try, the catch. I will have the error, then we have console dot log, and inside that we will catch the error. Fine, we are done with the catch block. Let's also update our try block. So in try block we will request the data just like we were doing it. So let's say request await Axios dot get data. Why get? Because in this case we are only fetching the data, right? So over here we will make use of our URL plus API slash users slash, we also have to give the user ID over here. According to that particular user ID, we will be fetching that particular user only. So let's say user dot underscore ID like this. Now let's also set the values. So first of all we get this particular user. Now this will be user, not username. Okay, this will be here there is a spelling mistake. Fine, error is gone. Okay, now let's also set user name. How we can set that? Request dot data dot, it will be dot username like this. Then we will have set email, and similarly that will have response dot data dot email, right? Then we will have set password, and that is also same. Then this is done. We get all the data of our user. Now after doing this much, I'll also create one function to update this particular part, right? So let's now I'm creating one handle over here. So let's say handle user updated, and this will be async operation. And inside this, first of all, we will set updated as false. Set updated is initially false only, okay? But we are setting this again because let's say if in middle of somewhere we have set our set updated as true and the user data is not updated, in that case what we will do, first we will set our set updated as false at the very beginning of the call, and then we will try to update the data. In case the data is updated, then and then only we will make this particular set update as true. Okay, now what we will do, we will create one try and catch block first. So catch will have the error, all right. Now inside the try block, start with res is equal to await. Here I am using the fetch. You can use Axios as well, okay? So right now I'm just showing fetch and Axios in same particular component, okay? Over here let's give the backtick and slash API slash user slash dollar our user ID. All right, so we got the user. Now what we have to do, we have to mention the method and everything. So if we were using Axios, we will directly write Axios dot put over here, right? But we are using fetch, so we have to mention that method which we are using over here is put like this. Now we also have to mention the headers over here. So obviously we are going to pass the credentials when we are doing this particular operation, because we are adding the user profile, right? So it is very important to pass the headers. Okay, so context type application JSON, right? Then we will have the credentials as true, or you can say included. If we will be using the Axios one, then in that case we write credential as true. And I like the Axios better than the fetch, but just to show you guys both the methods, I'm making use of both the things. Okay, and over here we will have body as JSON like this. Then we have to stringify that particular part, and inside this we will have our username, then we will have our email address, and then we will have our password. All right, so this is done. Now let's also console this particular data, and also we will set our updated as true. Okay, so let's say res dot data over here like this, and let's also set updated as true. Now in case of any error occurred, what we will do, we will set our updated as false again. Okay, because the data is not updated because there were some errors. Okay, now let's also give our user an option to delete that particular profile. Okay, so if I want to delete my particular profile, then what I'll do, now let's create our handle delete. So let's say handle delete like this, and this will be a sync operation as well. Let's make one arrow function over here. Inside that we will manage our try and catch block. So try block, catch block will have the error, and we will console log that particular error. Fine. Now inside our try block, what we will do, we will first send the response is equal to await, and here I'll just to show you the difference between fetch and Axios. I'm writing Axios for the next one. Okay, and here it will be only fetch, not fetch profile over here. Okay, so by mistake, by the auto update, it updated this as a fetch profile in my case. If you also use these suggestions, then it might get changed in your case also. Okay, so I didn't notice this earlier, so I'm just updating that as well. So okay, so now I'll show you the Axios part. Okay, so over here we are deleting the ID. In that case we use Axios dot delete. Then we will have our API slash API slash users like this. Then we will have user ID. If we don't mention this particular user ID, all the user data will be deleted. Okay, so make sure you mention that over here, and over here we will pass this with credentials true like this. And in this case we don't have to mention any extra thing. Okay, then we will set our user as null. We also have to set this particular data, so we will set this as null. We will navigate to navigate to where? Home page. Okay, so let's navigate to home page, and let's also console dot log response dot data. Now in catch we have already managed our exceptions, right? Now let's fetch the profile data first. So let's say use effect, and let's just create this arrow function, and inside this I'm writing fetch profile, and inside this we will also pass our params. Write this. And why this is giving me an error? Because there has to be a comma over here. Fine. We are done with our functionalities. We have created update and delete handle, and we have also fetched the data. Now let's move ahead to our UI part. So starting with, I'm removing this particular profile, and I'm writing I'm rendering navbar first over here. Navbar like this, then I'm creating a div. Div dot and inside this I'll pass border, then we'll have p3, then we'll have text center, then align middle, then we will have this as a flex, justify center, like this. Now we will also make the width as 50%. For medium screen my width will be 30%, and shadow, let's also give the shadow over here. Okay, I by mistakenly didn't close this one. Fine, it's okay. Now let's also give the shadow as Excel, or let's take 2 Excel this time. Okay, we have used Excel and LG all the time, so let's make it 2 Excel. And let's also say shadow color. So let's say shadow as gray 500. Fine. So this is done. Now inside this particular div I'm creating one more div, and inside that particular div we will have all the data. So over here I'm creating div dot. So if you just write div dot, it will give you it will create a div for you and also mention the class name over there. Okay, so you don't have to rewrite that again and again. So let's say flex call, and space y as 4, and then we will have justify center, we will have text as center. Now inside this particular div I'll render all my user data, and we will give the input tag to change the data. Now text will be Excel, justify center, text center, and font will be bold. Then margin bottom 4. Now between this we will just write the heading as profile, and after that we will have input tag. Okay, now input type will be text, then value will be username. Okay, username which we created as a state, and on change we will call the submit handler. So let's say we will set username. Okay, set username, and over here we will say e dot target dot value, like this. Now let's add some class names over here. So first of all I'm making outline as none, then we will have justify center, also this will be flex, then we will have py as 2, then we will have text as gray 500, then we'll also have the placeholder in case user removes everything. So let's say placeholder, and it says your username. Username like this. Then we will create similar thing for our email address, password. Okay, and then we will create two buttons for delete and update. Okay, now let's also create the same thing for the email first. So let's say input dot, and this will be text. Okay, let me just copy this particular part. Okay, I'm just removing this part and I'm copying this part for the 2 times like this. Now starting with this will be text. I'm making this little cleaner, okay, so we can get the idea. So first of all we will have email over here. So let's say email, this will be set email and your email over here. Everything else will remain the same, and here I'm changing the type from text to email like this. Okay, now let's also update this password. So type will be password. Let me just make it a little bit cleaner. Over here we will make the use of password. On change we will say set password. Password, target value password, and here your password. Okay, fine. I guess we have completed for all the input fields. Now let's create one more div, and inside that particular div we will have 2 buttons. Okay, so let's also give some class name to this particular div. So let's say class name, and over here I'll write flex item center and space x6 and empty 8. Now inside this we will have 2 buttons. So let's say button dot, and over here I'm writing update, and similarly I'll have one more button. So let's say button, and over here it will be delete like this, and here I want some class names over here. Now starting with on click, so I'm making this also little bit cleaner like this. Same goes over here. Fine. Okay, starting with the on click function. So over here I'm writing on click, I'll have my handle update. Okay, so let's say handle update over here, and for this one I'll have my handle delete. So let's say on click first, and then let's say handle delete. Now I'm writing the class name for the single one, and then I'll change for the other one as well. Okay, so starting with the text as white, then I have my font as semi bold, then my background will be black, px as 4, my py as 2, and hover text will be black only, black, and then my hover background will be bg will be gray 400. Now I'm copying this particular line for another div as well. Okay, so this is done. We have completed our profile section, but I also want to show the message that says my user is updated. So how we can do that? After this particular div, I'm rendering, conditional line over here. So let's say updated. So what is this updated? Updated is nothing but our state, right? So initially it is false, so this is not visible, and when my updated is true, in that case only this part will be visible. So over here I'm writing h3 dot, and let's make this text as green, and here let's make 500 text sm and text center, then empty 4. Now over here between this two h3 tags I'll write user data updated successfully. All right, we are done with this. Now we also have to render our footer. So here I'll also write the footer like this. I'm making this as a self-closing div. Okay, so we are done with our profile section. Let's check the output, how our profile section looks like. So if I'll just move over here and if I click on the profile, you can see this looks quite odd, and at the very corner. Why this is happening? Let's try to get that. So over here, if you notice one thing, this doesn't show your password over here, right? So let's also check that. First of all, let's move to our password, and we have a value as a password. Okay, so we are setting our password as password, but we are not getting our password. Fine. You can see on updation it is showing that my data is updated successfully. Okay, but I want this div at the very center of my screen. So let's check that. Moving to the main div over here, align middle width is equal to 50%, flex justify center, and so over here I'm making changes in my styling. So let's say height is equal to 90%, so it will show something like this. Let's make it screen only. Okay, so let's say screen over here, EEN. Fine. Okay, now you can see this is in the middle, and at the end we have our footer. All right, so I guess profile section is done. Now what we have to do is we have to create this my blog section. So over here this my blog is empty. Now let's move ahead to our VS Code and let's try and create this my blog page. So I hope you guys were enjoying this particular blog website series. Don't forget to subscribe to Intellipaat YouTube channel for more projects like this. So after completion of this particular blog website project, we will create few more amazing MERNS type projects. Okay, so first of all, let's start by importing some important things, starting with the link. Then we will have use location. Okay, why we are importing use location and link over here? Because we want to link this particular all the post to their actual location, right? So that's why I'm using link over here, and this is coming from our React Outer DOM. Okay, then we will also need a footer. So let's say footer. Then we will have our nav bar. So let's say nav bar. Then we will also have some hooks. So let's say import use context. Let's first import user context, and then we will need use context. So let's say import use context from React, use effect from React, and then use state from React. So one more thing, if you guys want to any other project, if you want to build any other project on React, please comment that particular project name, and I will try to create that particular project for you, and also I'll upload that particular project on the YouTube channel. Okay, import Axios from Axios. Then we will have URL. So let's say import URL. Then let's also import home post. So what we are going to do over here is we are directly going to pass this particular data, this specific data which this particular user have created to our home post, and we already have created our home post component, so we don't need to style that particular part again. So we just have to create more functionalities over here. We'll also import the loader. So if you missed any of this video, so you can check out the playlist and you will have the access to all this particular video. Okay, now let's create the functionalities first. Before this particular return statement, what I'll do, I'll create my first of all search. So the code will be similar to our home page, just the difference is the data we are passing to our home post component is the data which this user has created. Only difference is that, nothing else. Okay, so all the code is same. Use location over here, and this is the function. Then we will create some states starting with our post. So let's say const post, and let's also set post like this, and we will make use of our use state over here. At the starting we will initialize this as an empty array. Then we will have no results. If the user has not created any post, then we have no results, just like we did for our home page. And in the use state, initially it will be false, and we will also create set no results, let's say results like this. Then similarly we have our constant loader, and loader comma set loader. Why this is giving me all the wrong suggestions? Okay, something useful. False. Then we will get the user data from our context. So let's say use context, and then we will have user context inside this, user context like this. All right, so let's start by fetching the post data. Okay, so let's create one function as fetch post. Post is equal to async operation, and over here let's get our set loader like this, and let's keep this set loader as true initially. Then we will wrap everything inside a try and catch block. Catch over here, there will be error inside this. Let's also console dot log error. Now inside my try block, I'll response, we will get the response as await Axios dot get, because we're getting the data, right? We are not updating or putting any data over here. Starting with our URL plus /API /post /user and we will add a user ID over here. Why we are adding the user ID? Because we want the data from that particular user only. Okay, then we will set the post. So let's say set post as response dot data, and let's also, if the response is empty, in that case what we will do, we will set no results as true. Okay, so let's say response dot data, and how we will check whether it is empty or not. So let's say length, we have inbuilt function as length in JS triple equal to 0. In that case what we will do, we will set no results as true, we will set this as true. Okay, and over here else what we will do, we will set no results as false. Fine. And we will also have to set our loader as false at the end of this. Set loader as false. Okay, now let's also put this particular data outside this catch block, and inside my, if I get any error, in that case also I have to set loader as true. Okay, now what we will do, until and unless we are getting this particular error, our loader will show over there. Now let's also make use of our use effect hook and get all the post data. Okay, over here we will fetch post function, and over here I'm passing my search. So over here on my blogs as well, we will be able to search. Now over here we are creating our UI now. Okay, so first of all I'm rendering my nav bar over here, then I'm creating a div, and in this particular div only we will have our data. Okay, so let's make our px as 8, then md colon px as 200 pixel, then I'll also have my min height. So this is for my smaller screen. Okay, so minimum height will be 80 vh. So from 80 vh there will be no less height. Okay, so minimum height will be 80 vh. Now let's also check whether the loader is loading or not. So let's say loader. In case my loader is true, in that case what I'll do, I'll render my loader, right? So over here I'm creating one div dot. Okay, inside this first let's give some height, so let's say 40 vh over here. Then let's also make this as flex. Let's make this display as flex, then justify center, then item center. All right, and between this I'll be rendering my loader like this. Now after that what we will do outside this particular div, in case my loader is not loading and no results is also false. No result is false, that means I have to map everything, right? So let's say no results question mark. In that case what I'll do, I'll map my post. So how we will map the post, so let's say post dot map, and inside this I'll have the post, and also we will have our let me just directly return this. Okay, over here let's also take one empty div, and inside this particular div I'll have my link. So link to what? Link to that particular post, right? To is equal to user question mark. Now again we are conditionally rendering this, because this is going to change according to that particular post. Okay, so let post slash dollar, and inside this we will have post dot id, and then we will also render the login. So let's say slash login. Why slash login? Because inside the login only we have this particular part. Okay, and I'm removing this part over here from here, and we will have the link tag like this. And now between this particular link tag I'll have my home post. Okay, home post, and in this particular home post we will pass my key as post dot underscore id, and also post as post. So let's also pass post over here like this. Now after this particular link tag, what is the issue over here? Home post. Okay, change the spelling to home post. Fine. Now after this particular link tag over here, in case my loader is not, my data is not there. In that case, what I'll do, I'll just render there are no posts available. So let's also do that. Over here I'm mentioning some class name, so let's say class name starting with text center, font bold, empty 16, and between this particular h3 tag I'll write no post available, and at the end I'll also render my footer like this. Now let's check the output. So if I'll just move to my home page, let's move over here, and if I'll just log into this particular page, let's say test@gmail.com, and also password 123456, and if I'll just log in over here, and if I'll just click on OK, and then if I'll just click on my posts, or you can say my blogs over here, this is showing no posts available. Why? There has to be one single post available over there, right? So let's just check that. Is equal to not true. Over here there is some issue. Okay, /login. Okay, over here it will be underscore. Okay, so now if I'll just go and check over here, if I'll just move to blogosphere, and if I'll just move back to my blogs, okay, it's still showing no post available. Why? Okay, because we were not supposed to write this over here. Okay, over here it will be underscore user ID. Okay, now let's move back, and you can see we are getting this particular post, but I guess there is some issue with the width, so we will fix this UI. Okay, so let's move ahead and fix that particular UI. So over here we have our minimum height as 90 VH. I'm removing this particular part now. Okay, there is some issue with the width. All right, so let's just keep this as it is, and when we are rendering this particular home post, let's check whether we have some specific data we have to pass over there. So over here we have height is equal to 40 VH. We also have to pass the width for every particular div over here. So let's also mention some class name over here, making my width is equal to, let's make it as 30 VH. Let's check this. Okay, let's make it 40 VH. All right, so you can see let's also give some margin top over here. So let's say MT5. Okay, I guess this is looking perfect. We have one blog only, so it is showing one blog over here. Okay, so I guess we have completed with our blog website, and our blog website is looking very amazing. We have seen how to create this particular functionalities. Every functionalities of this particular website we have built it from the scratch. I know the UI is not that attractive for this particular website, but we have mainly focused on writing our backend, how to create REST API, how to get the data, how to update data, and everything from this particular project. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this particular project, and I'll see you guys with another MERN-Stack project in next video. Till then, keep creating this amazing projects, and if you were creating this particular project alongside with me, deploy this on GitHub and do share that particular link on comment section. I'll be happy to look at your projects, and if you made any changes in the UI as well, so also please put that particular link in comment section. Till then, tata, bye bye. Just a quick info, guys. IntelliPath offers a full stack developer course which enable you to learn tech stack from both front end and back end. Through this course, you will gain hands on experience with the skills and technologies such as SQL, Java, data structure, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, Node.js, and React under the guidance of industrial professionals. With this course, we have already helped thousands of professionals in successful career transition. You can check out the testimonial on our Achievers channel, whose link is given in the description below. Without a doubt, this course can set your careers to new heights. So visit the course page link given in the description and take the first step towards a career growth with the full stack developer course.